You say you take an anti-science position, and you seem to compare the paradigms of science and religion as equal. Yet earlier you say that science is a wonderful tool, yet almost mock the circular logic employed by the faithful. Could you clarify how you feel about science? Also, you say that evolution is not a fact, but you never really state what your standards are for considering something as factual. You haven't given us your theory of truth, that is, if you subscribe to one. I do agree that the scientific method is a method of gathering a quantity of truths, rather than arriving at some qualitative truth. I also agree that it shouldn't be the single, be-all, end-all method of discovering truth for the self. We all have to make unscientific assumptions. We start with a metaphysical framework, and we build our worldview from there, including on how we incorporate science. We can't scientifically examine everyday aspects of our lives. We can't We can't test every piece of bread we eat, every bit of soda that we drink, to be sure that it's real and safe for consumption. We simply assume that it is. How very unscientific of us. Most of us assume that on some level there is a reality, and we aren't merely hallucinating all the time. We assume that there's some kind of, this is real, That's another leap of faith, an unscientific assumption. But I wouldn't put science and superstition on equal footing. I would argue that for pragmatic intents and purposes, scientific theories such as gravity and evolution, etc., are factual. Maybe there is no ultimate justification for claiming something as factual, but when you gather all of the evidence, as you said, gathering all of the quantitative truths and data, I just don't think it's sensible to merely dismiss it, especially when you consider that modern breakthroughs in medicine are dependent on a theory of evolution. You can't escape it. I don't understand your distinction between a possible truth and a principle. I could argue that any sort of fact or non-fact is merely a principle rather than a truth or a falsity, as the case may be. Is red red? Couldn't this green thing be a red thing in disguise? Is it a fact that it's green, or a principle? I understand that in reality colors don't quite exist as we think and say that they do, but we do label what we perceive as different colors as, well, different colors. I would consider this hoodie to be green. This is my Link hoodie. By the way, I'll show it off. That is Link, motherfucking badass. From The Legend of Zelda? That guy. Okay. Anyway, I would say it's green. You could argue that it's just a principle I hold, that it isn't really green, that I'm somehow under a delusion that it's green, and maybe, ultimately, I am, but I would still say that it's a fact. It's pragmatic to say that it's a fact, just like it's pragmatic to say evolution is factual. Anyhow, I hope you can clarify some of the things you meant.